This month, when the Democrats finally passed their big trillion-dollar bill to rebuild our roads and bridges, 6 Democrats voted no because it didn't go far enough to address climate change, which I'm sure is true. What does? But this was free money from the federal government that would actually improve their constituents' lives. I can see a voter saying, you know, squad, I agree with you on climate change. But as long as it is happening, we also need money for getting the water pumped out of the subway. James Carville knew how to win, and he blamed the Democratic losses this November 2nd on stupid wokeness, to which AOC fired back that wokeness is a term almost exclusively used by older people these days. So that should tell you all you need to know. What? This is a term folks like you brought out very recently and had been proudly displaying at every march since. Just last year, The Guardian declared woke the word of our era. I guess they didn't get the memo from the Mean Girls Club.
Bill Maher has unleashed a scathing critique of his own party, lambasting them for completely losing touch with reality. It's not often that Maher goes all out against his own side, which makes this all the more striking. When he does, it's a masterclass in savage commentary and sharp, biting humor. There's a lot to unpack here, so buckle up and get ready for a wild ride.
But I will tonight once again break out my coach hat and try to point the Democrats in the right direction. That's all I can do. Point you in the right direction. I'm like Deep Throat. Because the way this party is running for office is making me gag.
Bill Maher has come to a blunt realization. The DNC has strayed far from its original mission, chasing a patchwork of fringe causes that have little to do with core liberal values. Rather than focusing on issues that impact everyday Americans' jobs, affordability, safety, and opportunity, the party has become consumed with ideological purity tests and niche activism. Maher argues that this disconnect is exactly why Democrats lost elections. Voters didn't suddenly reject liberal ideas. They simply no longer saw themselves in a party that no longer speaks their language. According to him, the DNC didn't fail because it was too bold or too compassionate, but because it forgot what liberalism is fundamentally about. Observing a party adrift politically and morally, Maher is trying to steer Democrats back toward reality, common sense, and the very voters they've alienated.
I know liberals think this country is full of dumb white people, but in our democracy, dumb white people make up a substantial portion of the vote. The median voter is a white person in their 50s who didn't go to college, their favorite TV show is NCIS, and their pronouns are what? I don't know what you're talking about, and get away from me.
Maher argues that if the DNC truly wants to win elections again, it must stop preaching to choir and start appealing to median voters, the people who actually decide elections. These aren't Twitter activists or campus ideologues. They're everyday Americans who vote based on common sense concerns. Maher bluntly calls them traditional middle-of-the-road voters who care far less about woke issues than the left assumes. They aren't tuning out because they're ignorant or hostile. They're tuning out because the party no longer reflects their daily struggles. According to Maher, Democrats have overestimated how much these voters care about niche cultural battles while underestimating their priorities: safety, stability, and economic security. Ignore them, mock them, lecture them, or write them off entirely, and you're virtually guaranteeing electoral defeat.
2008, Republicans only won 4 Virginia counties by more than 70%. This month, in the governor's election there, they did it in 45 counties. And this is what a lot of Democrats were told was the reason for that. Glenn Youngkin's win proves white ignorance is a powerful weapon. Racism still works in Virginia. It's not the messaging, folks. This country simply still loves white supremacy. Well, I haven't worked up an official Democratic campaign slogan for 2024 yet, but I tell you what I have ruled out is vote Democrat because white people That's...
Maher believes the Democrats keep losing votes because they reflexively interpret every defeat through the lens of identity politics. When one of their candidates wins, they celebrate the outcome as fair, just, and progressive. But when they lose, it's often framed as a moral or cultural failure. Maher isn't against diversity or representation. He emphasizes that anyone, regardless of race, should be able to run and be elected on merit. What frustrates him is what he sees as selective logic and intellectual dishonesty. Voters aren't blind. They notice when outcomes are judged by ideology rather than competence, ideas, or performance. By framing losses as proof of racism instead of acknowledging flaws in messaging or policy, Democrats risk alienating people who might otherwise listen. According to Maher, the party sabotages itself by moralizing every defeat instead of confronting the harder, more uncomfortable question: why didn't voters buy what we were selling?
Alienating a whole lot of people, particularly whites without a college degree, which is most of them in a country that's still 70% white. I'd say do the math, but math is a form of white supremacy. Yes, I know. I know every fiber of your being tells you the people you really want to reach are Guatemalan teenagers and bloggers in Gaza, but they can't vote. To a lot of folks in America, you come across as the cares about everybody but me party. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can find ways to stand up for these folks without being David Duke.